So, get this: months after Ana Knežević vanished into thin air in Spain, her estranged hubby gets nabbed in Miami. This isn't just any missing persons tale. Ana, a lively 40-year-old American citizen originally from Colombia, has sparked an international head-scratcher that's got everyone on their toes. Stick around because this roller coaster of a story is just climbing the first hill.
Months after Ana Knežević disappeared in Spain, her estranged husband is arrested in Miami.
It's going to take some time for them to basically retrace everything that happened and see what kind of evidence would be proof someone's guilt.
So what's ahead for the investigation?
That always becomes an interesting of any criminal case where they're alleging a murder, yet they haven't recovered the body.
And what are those closest to Ana saying now?
That we miss her and that we love her.
Picture this: Ana was last spotted on February 2nd in Madrid, Spain, chilling in her apartment amidst a not-so-amicable divorce. Enter David Knežević, the estranged husband, and now a major player in this mystery after Ana poofed without a trace. Brace yourself, we're about to dive into some seriously spooky text messages that turned up next.
When 40-year-old Ana Knežević was last seen on February 2nd, Ana is originally from Colombia, but is an American citizen who was based in Florida. At the time of her disappearance, she was renting out an apartment in Madrid, Spain, while in the midst of a tumultuous divorce. Ana's husband of 13 years is David Knežević, who we'll get to shortly. But before we ever heard David's name, we heard Ana's, when her best friend sounded the alarm that something was off.
The plot thickens the day after Ana's last sighting, when her bestie gets these bizarre texts from Ana's phone, babbling about some new dude and a sudden countryside escapade. These messages smelled fishier than a tuna sandwich left out in the sun and set off all kinds of alarm bells. Hang tight, because we're about to peel back the curtain on some sneaky surveillance moves.
The next day, Sana received a series of strange texts from Ana's phone. She shared the messages with Law and Crime. They read in part, quote, "I met someone wonderful. He has a summer house about 2 hours from Madrid."
Logistically, it didn't even make sense because she had those plans to go to Barcelona early Monday morning. She would not leave Madrid Saturday afternoon and state that she would be away for several days when she has already made plans to go to Barcelona Monday morning. That didn't even make sense.
Here's where things get a tad Hollywood. Investigators found out that a guy, who could totally be David's twin, was lurking near Ana's pad on the night she vanished. And get this, he was caught on camera giving a fresh paint job to the security cams. Up next, we'll jet off to Miami, where the drama unfolds even more at the airport.
When investigators announced someone was seen near Ana's apartment the night she went missing, wearing a helmet and spray painting security cameras. All this brings us back to David Knežević, Ana's estranged husband. When we spoke to Sana in February, she told us she'd been in contact with David after Ana went missing.
Well, I've been in contact with him. I was in contact with him throughout the week. I believe the last time I spoke to him was on Saturday. Police did speak to him in Madrid. I went to Madrid on February 8th.
Fasten your seatbelts, folks. On May 4th, David Knežević was dramatically cuffed by the FBI right as he stepped off the plane from Belgrade, Serbia, at Miami International Airport. His grand entrance was linked to the big bad accusation of kidnapping his own wife. But wait, there's more. The charges in the messy investigation are about to get a spotlight.
Now jump to May 4th, when David is arrested at the airport in Miami. He just flown in from Belgrade, Serbia. To understand David's arrest and where the case is headed, I sat down with defense attorney Mike Korbanix.
It's a very interesting case. My first thoughts are it's going to be difficult to get all the evidence together. And this doesn't have to do about politics or anything of that nature. It's just the physicality of preparing a defense or a prosecution. How are you going to collect all the information? And you have to travel all this distance to do it. Although everybody thinks technology cures everything.
So, the FBI steps up and declares that David was officially charged with Ana's kidnapping around February 2nd, 2024. His takedown was smooth as butter. No dramatic showdown or anything. Just when you think it's time to switch channels, we've got a legal eagle stepping in to spill some serious tea on what's next.
Authorities confirmed his arrest was made without incident by the Diplomatic Security Service and the FBI at Miami International Airport. Investigators now say the man who spray painted the cameras near Ana's apartment resembles David, and Spanish authorities even have security video of him buying duct tape and the same brand of paint used to cover up the cameras. They also say David met a different Colombian woman on a dating app and asked her to translate a message similar to the one Sana received.
Defense attorney Mike Corbin comes into play, talking big about how this case is like juggling 3 hot potatoes: USA, Spain, and Serbia. Gathering clues across continents is no joke, and boy does it complicate things. As this tangled web of a trial continues to weave, keep your popcorn ready because there are definitely more twists and turns coming your way.
Whatever direction the case heads, Mike says the prosecuting country has their work out for them.
The United States is handling the case. They've got to go interview witnesses, countries. So, and just you go see a witness doesn't necessarily guarantee that that witness is going to help you operate or go forward with it. I mean, a subpoena will force you to, but it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of time to do this investigation further.
Just when you thought bedtime snacks were the most controversial topic in parenting, enter this horrifying twist. A distressing incident unfolds as an Ohio woman admits on body cam that she strangled a 5-year-old boy to death for having snacks in his bed. Caught red-handed, she admits knowing exactly what she was doing. Trust me, you'll want to sit down for what's coming up next.
And I know better, and I knew what I was doing.
A shocking confession caught on body when an Ohio woman admits she strangled 5-year-old boy to death after finding snacks in the boy's bed.
He only lived to be 5 years and 26 days old.
And when she first speaks to officers, she's in complete hysterics.
I know.
I'm gonna give you gentlemen.
Here's everything we know so far about the gruesome murder of 5-year-old Darnell Taylor and the woman accused of killing him.
Picture this: a chilling 911 call in the dead of night to Columbus, Ohio. Dispatch kicks off a real-life horror story. The caller, a bewildered husband, spills the beans about waking up to his wife's shocking confession that little Darnell was not here no more after a tussle over the phone. Hold on to your hats, folks. The cops are about to make their grand entrance.
It all started with this 911 call that came in to Columbus, Ohio dispatch on February 14th.
Did she tell you how she did it or anything detailed?
No, she just woke me up and said he's not here no more. I said, what would you do? What did you do to him? She said he's not alive. Then when I tried to grab the phone to call you, she started fighting.
The caller tells the operator his wife, Tammy May, woke him up with some serious news that 5-year-old Darnell was dead. At the time of his death, May was the boy's legal guardian.
Here come the first responders, stepping into what looks like a scene from a dramatic crime show. They find the husband practically in shambles, detailing how his wife broke the news of her grim deed and how she got physical when he tried to dial for help. You won't believe what happens when they start digging deeper.
Okay, is it?
Yes.
And that's a female or a male? I'm sorry.
It's a
male.
boy.
Okay.
Yes.
Is there any other children in the home?
No, I'm not going to jail for her.
Okay, and then she didn't tell you anything about this plan?
No, she just said, I got a plan, and that's when I called you, and I told her I'm not going to jail for her.
May's husband says she has a history of mental health issues.
She does have depression and bipolar disorder, but she has been taking medicine for it. She's been fine.
Fast forward to the next day, and things take a wild turn. The wife, now known as May, is spotted meandering the streets, clearly not in her best state, and is promptly arrested by the good folks of Brooklyn police. Body cam footage captures her in a state of total meltdown, and just when you think it can't get any more intense, it does.
The next day, on February 15th, May is arrested when she's found wandering the streets of Brooklyn.
Ma'am, you understand that you are under arrest and you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law.
Officers first meet up with May. A portion of the video has been blurred by the Brooklyn Police Department, who released the footage to Law and Crime.
Good. There's Brian, I'm a supervisor here tonight. So she just randomly came in?
Yeah.
Oh. Just said she needed help?
She just wanted to...
Watch as May faces the music while the police read her Miranda rights. She's a hot mess, unable to spit out coherent answers while grappling with the gravity of her actions. Buckle up, because her heart-pounding confession to the detectives is just around the corner.
Ma'am, look.
They got this broken. That's it.
Did you speak to him or no?
No, he didn't.
No.
Where were you just at now?
Where have you been at?
I don't even know. I've been. Oh my God.
Are you having any pain anywhere?
In a jaw-dropping interrogation room confession, May lays it all on the table, admitting she thought she deserved punishment and was fully aware of the monstrous nature of her actions. As she spills her guts, the stage is set for a courtroom showdown that's as tense as a season finale cliffhanger.
When detectives speak with May, she fesses up right away.
I needed be punished, and even though I love life, I mean, I wouldn't want nobody to execute me, but I understand everything, and I know why take somebody's life, especially a child. I can't live a life.
May even says she knew what she was doing.
And I've been born 75, and I know better. So that's not fair to him.
Now in the courtroom, the atmosphere is thick with anticipation. May stands accused of not just murder, but also tampering with evidence and abusing a corpse. Prosecutors are pulling no punches, pushing for a bond hefty enough to make anyone's wallet weak. Just wait until you hear the jaw-dropping amount the judge slams down.
Days later, May appeared in court.
Are you Tammy May?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
After the judge lays out the charges against May, prosecutors describe the crime, asking for a substantial bond.
Charges here are murder, a companion case of kidnapping, F1, and endangering children, F3. Counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. Tyler McCoy on behalf of Franklin County, Supreme Court number 0098729. As for Miss May's record, she has no identifiable record.
The judge, probably not having the best day of his career, lays down the law with a bond total that's through the roof. It's a whopping cash-only demand that would have anyone's bank account crying uncle. Keep watching, because the defense's reaction is like a scene straight out of a legal drama.
On the murder, it'll be $3 million. Cash surety. Conditions of bond, Miss May. No odor, consumption, or possession of any alcohol or drugs of abuse. No possession of any firearms or other weapon. No further acts of violence or threats of violence against anyone. Stay away from any of the witnesses. All right? No contact by mail, by email, by telephone, text, in person, third party, and social media.
Despite the heavy atmosphere, May's defense plays it cool with a brief but pointed request for a more modest bond. She stands firm, pleading not guilty and setting the stage for more courtroom drama. Mark your calendars for May 23rd, folks. This saga is far from over.
Tammy May has pleaded not guilty to charges of aggravated murder, tampering with evidence, and abuse of a corpse. She's due back in court on May 23rd.
So picture this, what was supposed to be an Instagram-worthy surfing adventure in Mexico turns into a horror movie scene when a California dude and his two buddies end up brutally murdered. They were just trying to catch some waves and soak up the sun in a gorgeous beach town, despite knowing it wasn't all pina coladas and sunscreen in parts of Mexico, thanks to the drug cartels. But wait, it gets crazier from here.
When a California man and two of his friends are brutally murdered while on a surfing trip. What started as a missing persons investigation quickly escalated, with investigators now revealing a puzzling motive in the triple homicide.
Now, buckle up, because this missing persons case suddenly shifts into a full-blown criminal investigation drama. What started as a laid-back search for some missing surfers spirals into a grim discovery that makes everyone's jaw drop. Keep watching, because the plot thickens, and it's as twisty as a daytime soap opera.
But it's not that unusual to maybe think of how that is, because if you have, again, a weapon, a gun, those kind of situations can escalate very quickly, can become very dangerous.
All this just weeks before one victim was set to be married. Three men went along for the trip: brothers Jack and Callum Robin and their friend Jack Carter Rode.
Talk about a wedding planner's worst nightmare. One of the victims was about to get hitched in a few weeks, turning what was meant to be the best time of his life into a tragic headline. It's like going from wedding bells to funeral bells in no time flat. Stick around. The international intrigue that unfolds next is nothing short of a blockbuster movie plot.
But Callum moved to the States in college when he played lacrosse at Stevenson University. While Jack Robinson was based out of Victoria, Australia, both Callum and Jack Carter Rode were living in San Diego. That brings us to their spring surfing trip, spent in Baja, California, along the Pacific Ocean in western Mexico. Callum posted multiple photos of the trip to his Instagram, showing the group surfing, enjoying the beach, and listening to music.
Just when you thought it couldn't get more intense, one of the moms hits panic mode and blasts a message across Facebook like a bat signal, hoping to find her missing sons. This sparks a major search involving not just local but international cops too. What comes next? Let's just say the authorities are about to turn up the heat.
The real red flags came when the trio failed to show up for their Airbnb reservations in Rosarito. As attorney and legal analyst Dina Dina Seigdahl explains. One of the victims' mothers first sounded the alarm.
I mean, honestly, the first step in this situation was the mother put it on a Facebook, trying to say, hey, I can't find my sons. And she was hoping that maybe fellow surfers in the area would know more about why they didn't check into their Airbnb.
Here's where it gets all Mission Impossible. The search goes international with Mexican, US, and even Australian authorities jumping into the fray, turning it into a global manhunt. It's like everyone's coming out of the woodwork to solve this mystery. And guess what? The FBI enters the chat next.
Have to start involving the authorities, not only the Mexican authorities, but as one of them is an American, the US authorities got involved. And I'm sure she also asked for the Australian ambassador in Mexico, the investigation of what exactly, where they were. You know, they didn't know yet if they were still alive or not. Try to find out details and try to find them.
Dina says the involvement of American and Australian authorities probably expedited the search.
Oh, it's getting serious now. The FBI joins the party because one of the surfers was American, and they're not about to sit this one out. It's like adding a sprinkle of Hollywood to an already spicy taco. Just when you think you've seen it all, they find something that's going to blow your mind.
Was involved in the investigation, and that is not uncommon. We've seen any time, because we have seen situations in the past where Americans been involved in kidnappings or murders in Mexico, and the FBI does get involved because you're a U.S. citizen. And again, because of the proximity to the physical U.S. borders, it makes it much easier to be involved, and because of the alliances.
And here's the mega plot twist. They find not 3, but 4 bodies in a remote well. Imagine that call to the police. Yeah, we found them. And oh, we also found some extra bones nobody ordered. The tragic end of what was a sun-soaked escapade, but the motive revealed next. It's ludicrous to say the least.
And what do we think the investigation would look like? Going through cell phone data to see where their phones last pinged or last text messages, things like that?
Yes, and it sounded like they knew quite a bit about where they were to be located. Their family knew where they were going. The fact that they even knew to check into an Airbnb. Family knew quite a bit about the itinerary and where they were going. And I think that was, if they didn't know when they were supposed to check in, they wouldn't have known when they got missing.
Hold on to your hats, because the reason behind all this madness, the killers wanted the tires off the victim's vehicle. Yes, tires. It's like planning a heist for a pack of gum. You can't make this stuff up. And just when you think it couldn't get more bizarre, we meet the alleged culprits.
These men had communicated with their families, so much detail.
But the search for the men ended in tragedy when their bodies were discovered in a well about 50 feet underground. Along with them, a 4th body that had already begun decomposing. Mexican authorities say the well was in a rural area that was difficult to get to. It took first responders multiple hours to recover the bodies. Investigators are now revealing the motive in their murders, and it's not what you'd expect.
Ready for the whodunit reveal? 3 suspects are in the slammer, including a romantic couple who might have taken till death do us part a little too literally with someone else's stuff. What they found next to the well adds another layer of what the heck to the story.
3 suspects are now in custody. Brothers Christian Alejandro Garcia, Jesus Gerardo Garcia Cota, and Jesus' wife, Ari Giselle Garcia Cota. Authorities say their motive was the tires on the vehicle the 3 tourists were driving. According to investigators, it appears that the brothers and their friend resisted the carjack, and it ended in their murder.
The detectives stumble upon a campsite from hell-abandoned tents, a torched truck, and some of the victims' phones. Because of course, keeping a murdered dude's phone is a brilliant keepsake, right? The legal drama that unfolds is as messy as a reality TV show.
4 miles from the well, investigators found abandoned tents, a burned-up pickup truck, and some of the victims' phone. Investigators also say Ari Giselle Garcia Cota had one of the victims' phones when she was arrested. And if we're talking about the suspects, some of the reports I've seen show that she had one of the victims' cell phones with her when she had been arrested.
And now, for the legal circus. The suspects are dragged into court in Mexico, because that's where the madness happened. It's like Judge Judy meets Narcos. Coming up next, we dive into the gritty details of how international law tries to untangle this messy web of crime and deception. Grab your popcorn, folks. This is just getting started.
Is a huge driving tourist destination. So Americans and people around the world tend to still go where they think they are safe tourist destinations. And for the most part, vast majority of them are safe and nothing happened. But we see much more crime and deaths, and I think over 500 Americans are still missing in Mexico, willing to still go because for the most part, it won't be you. In a situation situation like this.
In a jaw-dropping start to the episode, we delve into the dramatic events that led to the mother's arrest in Ohio. A 2-year-old child found themselves on an unexpected trip to the emergency room after being exposed to a not-so-sweet variety of sugar, specifically amphetamines. The mother, identified as 29-year-old Brittany Colvin, is now wearing orange, and her children are experiencing a less-than-ideal sleepover with Child Protective Services. Strap in, because the story only spirals from here.
Mom of 4 is now in custody after one of her children was rushed to an emergency room for exposure. The Guernsey County Sheriff's Office says that they were notified by social workers at a children's hospital that a 2-year-old was being treated for exposure or overdose from amphetamines. Deputies say 29-year-old Brittany Colvin took a child to a medical center in the Cambridge, Ohio area around 11 p.m. on April 27th.
Buckle up, folks. The legal roller coaster is just beginning. Brittany Colvin has been slapped with some serious allegations, including felony child endangerment and tampering with evidence. Court records spill the tea, alleging that Colvin completely dropped the ball on her duty of care, creating a substantial risk to her child's health and safety from April 25 to April 28, 2024. And trust me, you'll want to stick around to hear what the legal eagle has to say next.
According to the court records, quote, complainant being duly sworn states that Brittany Nicole Lynn Colvin in Guernsey County, Ohio, on or about April 25th, 2024, unlawfully was a parent, guardian, custodian, person having custody or control of a child under 18 years of age who did create a substantial risk to the health or safety, DW, those are the initials of the minor, and the date of the birth is listed as well. And she did this by violating a duty of care, protection, or support in violation of the statute.
Bringing some heavyweight legal chops into the conversation, retired Ohio Judge Van Rucker weighs in on the tragically tangled nature of the case. He hints that while the spice rack of life sometimes includes addiction, we can't yet confirm if Colvin was cooking with those ingredients. Despite the lack of confirmed details about Colvin's personal use, the presence of drugs catapulted the tot into hospitalization, suggesting a home life recipe that definitely needed revising. What's coming up will open your eyes to the speculated home conditions. Grab your popcorn.
Judge, thank you so much for coming on. Really sad case. What's your take on it?
Hey, Jesse, glad to be here. You're right. Sad case. It's unfortunate how frequently we see cases like this where mothers, young fathers who are in the throes of addiction.
Just to be clear, we don't know, right? We don't know if there were addiction issues here. We know that there was the presence of this drug, or at least that's what being, but we don't know if she was abusing the drugs, how this...
Imagine the worst episode of Hoarders you've ever seen. Yeah, it might be kind of like that. Judge Rucker takes a stab at guessing the likely chaotic conditions of Colvin's pad based on his years of seeing similar cases. He pictures a place possibly littered with more hazards than a minefield, where drug paraphernalia might be more accessible to kids than toys. What does this mean for the children? We dive deeper into the implications next.
Again, the conditions of the home. You see these photographs and you'd ask the question, how can a family or individuals live in these types of conditions? And although we don't have the pictures, I know those descriptive words, and I can only guess that those same conditions apply here. And you have to ask the question, why if you need help? Because that's a lot of these instances that help is available. People just don't have the capacity to ask for it.
Just when you think it couldn't get more intense, we unpack the child endangerment charge. Judge Rucker explains that it's not about Colvin planning a playground of peril, but rather about her creating an environment where danger was more welcome than a cold popsicle on a hot day. This charge is a big red flag that the playground was definitely not up to code. But wait, there's more. Let's talk evidence tampering.
Let's talk about the law a little bit. This child endangerment charge, clear about it. This is just creating the environment, something like this to happen, right? It's not that she intended to cause her child to ingest or be exposed to the drugs, right?
The charge indicates that a person created a substantial risk of physical harm. They created a substantial risk.
As if the plot couldn't thicken any further, we slice into the tampering with evidence charge. There's a whiff of speculation that Colvin might have been on a cleaning spree, not for her home's aesthetics, but to hide the naughty bits from the prying eyes of the law while her child was critically ill. This act might hint at an Oscar-worthy performance of hide and seek with potential evidence. Keep watching, because the legal lowdown on plea deals is just around the corner.
What do you think that's about? It's not just that she didn't show up at the hospital. Is there something more there? It sounds like she literally tried to discard evidence, or allegedly discarded evidence, to make sure that she wouldn't be arrested or prosecuted.
You have to wonder, when they couldn't find her, when the child was being transported by air care because they were in critical condition, they couldn't find her. You have to wonder if through interviewing and through diligent police work,